launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
To the left, Evans wide to the right, shotgun look with Fournette on the right hip of Brady. Here's the snap. Pressure coming from the outside. Brady throws it back. Caught ball first out of the 50. At the number 40. The 30-yard line. To the 25. It's Perriman. Breshad Perriman. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Bucs win in overtime. Perriman.
A guy that was cut by the Bears and the Lions plays hero in one of the most scintillating finishes in the history of Raymond James Stadium, and certainly one that will go down in history. Welcome to the JP Peterson Show on this Victory Monday as the Buccaneers vanquish a very game Bills team 33-27 in overtime on a phenomenal performance by Tom Brady in the first half and overtime, and a Josh Allen performance for the ages in a losing effort. What a gamer that dude is. We got a great show for you coming up. We're going to hear from all the combatants in this one. Brady, Arians, Josh Allen. We got the rest of the day in the NFL. We got sex toy stories and curling mixing at the same time. Yes. So it's all going to be here for you today. So sit back and enjoy the fun here as we go through what really was an incredible game and set up a stretch run here for the Buccaneers, which could hopefully lead them to home field advantage. Big game tonight. Rams and Cardinals, and back-to-back Super Bowls. Can you imagine? Nick Geddes joining me here from Outkick.com. Good morning, sir. How was your weekend?
Good morning. Great weekend. Bucks yesterday was crazy. I told you off the air before we got on here, that felt like an old school Bucks game where I had a knot in my stomach in the fourth quarter, and I was expecting the worst. But thankfully, they were able to finish it off, or I would have been in a little bit of a mood this morning. It was already,
I think a lot of people would have been.
We would have been.
Yeah. You know, the first half, you're watching this Buccaneers team, and it's the best of the Buccaneers. I mean, it is just everything that they have. They can run the football when they want to run it. The Leonard Fournette carry early on kind of set the tone. They can throw it under any circumstances. Brady, dropping dimes. That throw to Evans in the back of the end zone was just virtuoso on both parts. Great route by Evans. Great catch by Evans, and a ball placement under fire that is just otherworldly. It's just otherworldly. As Boomer Esiason said at halftime, it's just like, Tom freaking Brady, are you kidding me? The level that he's playing at right now? And when you hear it from older quarterbacks like that, and they say it like that, Brady's doing something really, really special right now. He's doing something really special. Although he was very pedestrian in the second half as, the Bucs just kind of took off the gas. I think offensively, I think Brady played way too safe. He was throwing balls that he normally wouldn't throw. He was just trying to make sure that he didn't make the big mistake that would cost his team the game, and by doing so, let the Bills back in the game, because the Buccaneers defense, when it's rested like normal in the first half and rushing the passer, they're fantastic. They'll hold you to 3 points, but as gassed as they were in the second half, they had nothing left. They got a very, very magnanimous non-PI call on Diggs on that last possession that clearly, given the other calls that went Gronk's way and Evans' way all game long, that was, if I'm a Bills fan today, I'm feeling a little cheated. No doubt about it. Because that puts the ball in the one, it's probably a touchdown.
There was a few calls where I think they definitely went the Bucs' way. I even point back to, was that in the overtime drive where it was 3rd and 1 and they did the run to Fournette and they had to review it and everything or get changed?
Yeah.
I don't know how good of a look you got in the stadium, but on the TV, it's very hard to see how it was a first down.
The look I got on the big boards, and man, I was in the stadium. We were kind of walking around and going to different places, seeing some friends, and we were down in the south end zone on that particular play, and you could, at least from my vantage point, that down the line, I thought the ball definitely got over, but you knew they weren't going to overturn it.
No.
And there's I think for the most part, when it's close to the line, the officials move sticks. That's kind of how they do it. They don't want to take up too much time anymore. I understand you got to challenge that, but you knew after the first 2 looks they weren't going to overturn it. If it's within a half a yard, they're never going to, and it's like a scrum situation. They're not going to overturn it. And so I knew they wouldn't overturn it, but yeah, another close call. I mean, the Bucs, we always say this on the show, right? Whether they win or lose, we want to break down a game by all the plays. The outcome, although obviously extremely important, when you're trying to evaluate a team and its journey to the Super Bowl, you want to look at more than scores. You want to look at because many times teams get outplayed and a bounce of a ball, a bad call here, a bad call there, a little, a bad luck here or there changes the outcome of the game, but it doesn't change the way the game was played for 60 minutes. So if you're really going to analyze football games, you need to look at the tape. You need to look at the full 60. You don't just go look at the score and go, oh, hey, they beat them. They must be a better team. No, it's not the way it works. And I thought yesterday the Bucs were dominant, obviously, in the first half. The second half, they did not play their best football. Obviously, the defense was gassed at the end because the offense couldn't stay on the damn field, and that's going to kill you. But overall, what you saw yesterday, and congrats to John Romano, must have just pained him to pen that positive column about the Buccaneers. I mean, must have just been like fire in his veins. But he nailed it. It's absolutely, this is a Super Bowl team that is really, frankly, better than last year's team. If you factor in injuries and what have you, the level at which Brady is playing is just insane. The receivers are tremendous. When they get AB back, they're going to be even better. Defensively, I thought their rush packages were tremendous, especially in the first half yesterday. Shaq Barrett is back to being Shaq Barrett. Devin White was all over the field yesterday, although, he makes some very curious plays at times and misses too many tackles for me. He seems to always be there when we need a big play, and that's what you want to ask of your guys to do that. So we'll get through the whole game and kind of break down the key plays. But I just thought overall this was just another sign. And let's tip our cap to Josh Allen. What a football player, man! What a football player he is. I saw him on one run literally outrun two guys and then juke Devin White in the open field. He's 6'5", 240 pounds, and he runs like a freaking fullback. And he doesn't care. He's not that interested in sliding. I don't know if he survives more than 4 or 5 more years in the league playing this way, but my Lord, for him to play like that and lose a game yesterday, it's a shame, really. I mean, as a Buccaneer fan, I'm glad he lost, but my God, that kid can play.
I mean, he put the team on his back in every sense of the word. I don't think in the first half they didn't have a single run at all that wasn't from Josh Allen from a single running back at all.
If I heard Nance right, I was watching the replay this morning. He said a running back didn't touch the ball.
No, did not even touch the ball in the first half.
Think about that for a second. First of all, Brian Daboll, what the F are you doing? Like, you can't win football games that way. I don't care if you can't run on the Buccaneers. If you're playing that way, you're just letting your offensive line has no chance to protect him if they know there's no run. It's one thing to have to at least think about the run, but to know they're not even thinking about handing it off. I mean, your offensive linemen must be sitting back there going, "See, many Christmas. Can we just run the ball? Can I just move forward on a snap just once today?" I played in my beginnings of playing football. I actually, because I was one of the bigger kids, I played offensive line. But it gave me a great appreciation for the position, even at a lower level. I think it was like in 9th grade, and we ran like the wishbone. But I understood what pass blocking was about, not many times, but I understood like the difference in imposing your will on a team. When you're an offensive lineman and in no point do you ever move forward and block a guy, you've got no freaking chance. And that's why it's one of the reasons the Bucs pass rush was so ferocious. Any other quarterback gets sacked 10 times yesterday. Almost any other quarterback not named Lamar Jackson gets sacked 10 times. Some of his throws.
He's an all-world talent.
Man.
He's an all-world talent. And at times this year he hasn't played like it, but he had that look in his eye like he was going to will that team to victory one way or another. And I thought he did everything he could, honestly, in the circumstances. I mean, you're asked to throw over 50 times in that game. You have no running game whatsoever to speak of. Your line couldn't stop him. And eventually, like you said, the Bucs defense got just gassed out. It honestly, the last quarter or so, every time I watched the play, I mean, Shaq Barrett, he wasn't jumping off the edge. He was kind of just like late.
Oh, they were gassed, man. You couldn't
even move.
I don't know from the TV copy if you could see it as much, but there was one play towards the end of the game in the fourth quarter before that last touchdown that they scored. I forget who it was, but there's about 3 or 4 guys, and I think Allen ran for 20 yards or something. And there's this 3-4 Buccaneers just laying on the turf.
Yep.
They were just like, I was like, ooh, this is not good. This is not good. Because there was still like 7 minutes left in the game. And I was like, the defense was gassed because the offense couldn't. Brady had 14 incompletions of his first 20 passes in the second half.
Yeah, and he missed the one to Gronk wide open, about 12, 15 yards out. And it was really weird pass. Like, he was wide open. He threw it like low and behind him. And later in the game, in the fourth quarter, I think the last drive before Buffalo went down and got the field goal, Chris Godwin, about 20 yards down the field, wide open, and he kind of short arms him a little bit. It was a really odd performance there in that second half of the Bucs offense. But, those are things
wondering
that
once
crept
again,
up, though.
It was like the game where he got hit and underneath the Washington game, and he just checked it down the rest of the game. I was wondering myself, I was like, is Brady hurt? Did he hurt his hand? Did he hurt something? Because that was very un-Brady-like. And let me just say something about the last play. Dan Orlowski did a great job breaking it down on Get Up this morning. And it really encapsulates what the Bucs offense is about right now. It's Brady's decision-making. It's Brady's accuracy. It's the front office going out and finding a dude that was cut by the Bears and the Lions. That is, by all accounts, still a pretty damn good receiver and a big dude. He's your UCF guy, Breshad Perriman. So, kudos to the front office for finding this guy. And then the offensive line, they run a 2 ET stunts where the ends and tackles kind of loop. It's kind of hard to pick up, and then they bring a linebacker. Leonard Fournette moves into position with the guys on the right-hand side, Kappa and Wirfs, and they just do a tremendous job picking up all those guys. And Fournette, at the last second, as a guy's coming loose off the edge and he's probably going to pressure Brady, he moves out and hits him. Just a really, really, really good play. And the whole time, it's a crosser going to Mike Evans. They're trying to get a little rub route to Mike Evans coming across. And Brady sees that Perriman's got a linebacker on him. And he's like, dude hasn't caught a ball all game.
No.
I don't even know if he had a target. He don't even have a target.
He had one earlier in the game.
And so he goes, that's my matchup, but I'm going to need some time to get it over. So he slides a little. They pick up the stunts, and then Brady throws an absolutely perfect pass right in stride. If it's even a half a yard behind him and he has to slow up for just a little bit, that linebacker is going to catch him. And he doesn't, and he takes it to the house, and the longest OT touchdown walk-off, I think, in like 10 years in the NFL.
And
the place goes bananas.
It's a game of inches, too. That ball got tipped at the line also. It got tipped at the line. It was still able to make it there.
Yeah.
And Breshad Perriman, before the game started, I remember I was looking through Twitter. The inactive list comes out. Scotty Miller's on it.
I know.
And Bucs fans were losing their mind over this. Breshad Perriman, why is he playing? Why is he out there? And he hasn't done anything in the opportunities that he's had. He gets the one target. If you remember, it was a little out route, and he kind of turned too far up.
Yep.
And Brady missed him. And Brady, they showed his face, and he looked like he was so irritated. And Romo's like, he's upset with Perriman because he went too deep
far
on the route.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, he's not going to get the ball again.
Nope.
But on that last play, of course, it was supposed to go to Mike Evans, but the matchup dictated differently. And that's the thing about the offense, man. I mean, there's so many guys we talk about. There's so many guys to cover that Breshad Perriman, he's on a linebacker. A really good linebacker, by the way, in Edmonds who can run. But Perriman, I mean, he's obviously fresh, hasn't played a lot of football. He gets out there, and that's his thing. Once he's in the open field, he's gone. Great moment. And, of course, the Bucs, they weren't going to let that ball get away. You see the employee that was ready?
No, I didn't see that.
The second Perriman dropped that ball, Bucs employee was waiting for that ball, not to let it go in his stands or anything, because that was the 700th touchdown for Brady. And he came in, run up and got it.
700, bro.
700.
What is there are Hall of Famers. I think I think Bob Greasy has like 175 total touchdowns in his Hall of Fame NFL. I know it was a different game back then, but 700. I mean, think about that. Touchdown passes are not easy to throw.
No, they're not.
I mean, relatively speaking, but my God,
he's breaking a record. He had the completions record yesterday set by Drew Brees, and he gets the touchdown record. And just what else can you say about Brady? What else? I mean,
I'm so glad that this is like, if you're a long suffering Buccaneers fan and you've been through all the creamsicle and the 14 years of just god awful football and whiffing on field goals. You know what I'm talking, the yucks. This is if you're patient enough, the Lord will provide. It's on his time. It's my pastor always like to say, it's not on your time, it's on his time. So all of you that was your 40 years in the desert that you had to endure. And now we're giving you the promised one, the chosen one, just to enjoy for a couple of years at the end. Was it worth it?
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Was it worth it, Bucs fans? Maybe so. Just amazing. So the reason I may have missed the ball placement by the employee was, so we're in the south end zone, drinking beer, and there's a lot of Bills fans around us, right? And this one woman, pure class, excuse me, she's, as the entire Bills comeback is going on, she's got her middle finger up in the air, like it's like she's holding the Olympic torch, and she's looking Buccaneer fans in the eyes. And just, if you're watching on StreamYard, can I do this or will they kick us off? Anyway.
Look right ahead.
So she's just like, F you, like going around and like putting her finger in people's faces. And may I first say, I encountered 500 Bills fans yesterday, and they were all wonderful people. They were all awesome people. Had so much fun chatting with them. Really cool. But this one woman, man, she was a witch. She was like a witch. And she wouldn't stop. And I was like, oh my God. So we had to relocate. It was just too much. And I feared for her safety. I went and told Usher, I said, that's not going to end well. You need to go do something about that. I hate to rat on people, but you knew that was not going to end well. Something bad was going to happen to her or somebody else, or this wasn't going to end well. So I had to just, stroll by at the end of the game just to make sure she was okay. And she was like her head was down, like on one of the picnic tables, like sobbing like a child. She probably was overserved.
Maybe just a little bit.
I would think. But but it was emotion, and the Bills fans were like despondent at halftime. And then it was just a great game to be at. The energy in the stadium was Super Bowl-esque. And actually better because the Super Bowl wasn't full. I mean, it was as good as I remember back in the late 90s and the early aughts Super Bowl run. It was loud. It was just, it was fantastic.
There was a lot of Bills fans there, wasn't there?
I'd say 70-30, 65-35. Yeah, it's a ton.
Yeah,
it's a ton.
It's like 75-30 Bills in favor is what you're saying?
No.
Or Bucks favor?
Bucks fan.
All right,
but I mean, 35% of your crowd, 65-35. That's a big presence from the other team. That's huge.
Did we see any flaming tables? Did we see anybody go through them?
No. I walked around, hit a couple tailgates before the game, and didn't see any of that. So unfortunately, I was a little it's a little sad that I didn't get to see any of that. But anyway, it was a tremendous atmosphere. I had some friends that came into town, and they got tickets for almost $500 a ticket, sit club seats like 45-yard line, right? And I was like, damn, I'm sorry the tickets were so expensive. That was worth it. I mean, if there's ever a game you can say, a regular season game, that was worth it. I mean, you're seeing Brady, as a Bucs. First, they're from out of town. So they came in, saw Brady, they're Bucs fans. They wanted to, so you get to see that. You get to see an overtime game. You get to see a 700 career touchdown pass. You get to see him do the completions record. The atmosphere in the stadium was second to none. I mean, there's ever a game that's worth it, that was worth it. That was fantastic. It's as good as it gets in the NFL regular season, in my opinion. All right, let's get through some of the sound here. Here's Bruce Arians. We'll start right at the top, talking about Josh Allen, and major props to this cat. Hey, maybe we'll get him at the end of his career. Of course, like I said, he ain't until he's 44, not the way he plays. The kid's impossible. Here's Arians talking about Josh Allen's effort.
Oh yeah, he's more like Cam Newton, but with a bigger, stronger arm. And we talked about the design quarterback runs are tough. I wouldn't put my quarterback in that much harm's way because he did get nicked up a little bit, but they did a heck of a job with it.
Kid's a gamer. And I always say it's when you have a legacy quarterback, an all-timer, one of the things I love about it is does the player's personality fit the market, fit the, like the blue, Buffalo's a blue collar market. It's just that you don't need a I would say this delicate, like, I hate to say this. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would play there.
Hell, not a chance.
You know what I'm saying?
Not a chance.
He just his whole attitude. Even though I don't think Green Bay is like that. I don't think Rodgers really fits Green Bay, to be honest with you, from a personality standpoint, right? But this guy fits the market. It's Brett Favre. Brett Favre fit the Packers like a glove.
Notice where he went to school.
Joe
Wyoming,
Namath fit the Jets like a glove. That was Broadway Joe.
Yeah,
that was even though he's an Alabama kid, he was Broadway Joe. Perfect. This kid, Brady fits the Bucs, no doubt. Kidding. Becoming more Tampa Tom.
A little bit more.
Tom. He's a little bit too much kale, and avocado ice cream for me on that level. But be that as it may, I think this guy fits Buffalo perfectly.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like I said, he went to Wyoming, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
kind of same ethos as Buffalo. Tough place to play. Things like that.
Where is he from originally?
He's actually from California.
Is he a California kid?
Yeah, he is.
Well, he don't seem like it.
Not really at all.
He don't seem like he's avocado ice cream at all.
I would doubt avocado ice cream.
He's double cheeseburgers, extra fries. All right, here's Arians on the Bucs' second half struggles. What the hell was going on?
We missed wide open guys and didn't convert third down, so we couldn't stay on the field. And when we ran it, we got a little bit, but we'd always 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 punt, and just go back and look at the tape, see what we were doing right and wrong.
I was surprised the Bucs weren't able to run the football better than they did. We had Sal Capaccio on Friday, Bill's sideline guy, and he said that without Star Lotulelei, the run defense isn't any good, but they got these two guys from the practice squad, these 200-300 pounders. I forget their names, but they did a nice job. The Bucs had a hard time moving them in the run game, except for the big run for Fournette, which was a tremendous block by Gronk on the edge. And boy, Donovan Smith just destroyed that safety.
Put his ass in the Pro Bowl, man.
Ooh, and a great run by Fournette. He hit the hole, made a great cut. He's off to the races. That's kind of set the tone. Yeah. Did you just say Donovan Smith in the Pro Bowl?
Yes.
You did, didn't
yes. You? He needs to be in the Pro Bowl. By every metric, go look at Pro Football Focus. He's like a top 5 tackle this year. You watch him on the field in these blocks. He dove almost to like make that block and like put him on the ground, have that block open. He hasn't allowed a sack in I don't know how many weeks, or even a pressure really. He's been outstanding. I gotta
eat a little crow on this one. But I don't know. I always said about Donovan Smith is he has the ability to be a Pro Bowl tackle. No question. Has the feet, has the smarts, has the athletic ability, has the size, has everything you need. But he was underwhelming in his first four seasons. He was inconsistent. His effort on the field was very inconsistent. There will be times when he would just stop blocking. Jameis will be running around like a chicken with his head cut off. And I understand, but you got to keep blocking. You can't just stop. And he would do that time and time again. His guy would come and smash Jameis from behind, and just can't do that. And so it was frustrating. And then they gave him the big contract. I'm like, what are you seeing? Because after 4 years, if you're not seeing a consistent effort, then, I don't know if you give him left tackle starting money. And we did. And and then Tom Brady came to town. I said this when Tom Brady came to town. I said, this guy is either going to be out the door in about 5 minutes or he's going to become a great player. He's going to have to make a choice. And Brady helped him become a great player. And go back to the first Tom Brady game in that empty dome in New Orleans. That was Donovan Smith's worst game that he's played in the Tom Brady era by far. Yeah. Maybe that was his come to Jesus moment. I don't know. But it seems like ever since that game, Donovan Smith's been a pretty damn good left tackle. Well, there becomes, a crossroads. And I haven't heard Donovan Smith asked about this or even talked about it, but I bet there was a moment like that. I bet there was a face-to-face with Brady and said, look, like, you're going to get me killed. The Chicago game, another one comes to mind. Yep. You want to get me killed? Then you want to be the guy with the blood on the hands that ended Brady's career, and whatever was said, whatever was done, it turned this guy into a Pro Bowl offensive tackle. And major kudos to Donovan Smith and the whole team coaching staff. Not only to him, the entire line. Yeah. We talk every week. They're the unsung hero of this team. No sacks again yesterday. No sacks again against Buffalo, which was one of the best teams in the league at picking up sacks. And Brady, I mentioned it on Twitter yesterday, the way he was able to move and navigate through the pocket.
It's special, man.
Yeah,
it really
is.
You can't teach it. You really can't.
The what is it? The shoulder shake.
Yeah, the little shimmy.
The little shimmy shoulder shake, and he just kind of makes himself small. Gets steps up in the pocket. It's a masterclass every time he plays and playing quarterback. You don't have to be. Let's just be honest. On a level of 1 to 10, his athletic ability. And I'm not throwing the football because that is an athletic movement, and it's the best that's ever been done by far. But just the rest of it, the 40-yard dash at the combine. That's all you need to see. That, and you look at that and you go, that's the greatest football player in the history of the game. What? He can't even run.
Yeah, he was a little sneaky yesterday in the run game.
He got sneaky.
You saw that he got somebody with the fake.
Yes, he did.
Extending the arm out.
He put his head down. He put his head down to get a first down. Tom Brady.
And even on the first play of the game, I think Dan talked about it earlier too on Get Up. He made one of the most important plays on the first play of the game when Ryan Jensen, I don't know what the hell that was. And Gregory Rousseau.
That's what you call the opening. That's when you get the slickest ball of the game.
Yeah.
It's still got the shine on it. It hasn't been sweated on or anything. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's slippery.
I hadn't seen anything like that. But anyway, the ball goes back and Brady's like trying to trail it and pick it up. And here comes Gregory Rousseau, Epinesa, the two young bats coming. Brady somehow was able to snatch it. That right there might be a 7-point swing at the end of the day.
No question. And at the beginning of the game.
Exactly.
You start a game that way. All the Bills fans are going bananas. You're down 7-0. That's, football's a game of momentum and energy. And if, think of the lift that gives the Buffalo Bills if they get that ball. You're absolutely right. It's huge.
I don't want to be that guy,
play.
but I don't think Cam Newton would have done that. I'm just saying.
Ooh. You have evidence.
I do have evidence.
In a very important spot.
I do.
It was a big moment.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get hurt, bro.
No.
Cam first.
Got to be able to put those clothes on, man.
That's right,
the
man.
game.
How am I going to do that hair bun if my arm goes in there, man?
You can't.
No, you can't do it. You got priorities. All right, let's hear from Bruce Arians again, talking about Perriman stepping up.
Man, he had a great year here 3 years ago. And he was our number one at the end of the year with Chris and Mike Routen. And he had a 100-yard ball game, so we know what he can do. And he got great speed. He's big. He can active in the blocking. So he's really the best third option we have right now.
And think about the coaching that went into this, okay? Scotty Miller, who was, Scotty F. and Miller last year, he was a big part of our offense, especially before AB got here. He was getting, I think, the second or third most targets.
Yep.
And and he's a player. He's good. But credit this coaching staff and credit, we're going to talk a little bit about Urban Meyer later on in the show. But, you just heard Bruce Arians criticize Brady. We missed a bunch of guys. He's criticizing Brady. He can do that because he has relationships with all these players. He can tell Scotty Miller, you're just not what we need right now. But you're an important part of the team. We're going to need you. But this week, this is a Perriman week. We need a bigger guy in that position, et cetera, et cetera. And and that's okay.
And I think it also speaks to Tyler Johnson as well. You think about it, they had all these weeks. Tyler Johnson had all these weeks to be the third option. Be honest, he didn't really do much with it. He had some drops in there. He wasn't really open. Remember the beginning of the year when Bruce called him out when he came into camp overweight? There's been a few things with Tyler Johnson this year. And I think this might be his moment to say, wow, they brought in this guy off the street, was cut by the Bears and the Lions, and he gets that moment. That could have been Tyler Johnson for all you know.
That's right.
But that is the standard the Bucs hold themselves to. They're always looking to add somebody to win. It doesn't matter about stacking. That's what they're doing. They're stacking the deck. They want to win a Super Bowl. That's the goal, and you have to have that mentality, and the Bucs have finally embraced that.
And I think the other part of it is, it's not like coming back to Urban Meyer. I'm not Bruce. This is not Bruce Arians going back to Carlos Hyde because Perriman was there. No, this is Bruce Arians going. He's been doing it in practice. We needed that guy this day. He's been better, and by meritocracy, you get that spot, and players respect that. Players will respect that. Like Scotty Miller knows that there's something he's not doing. Tyler Johnson knows there's something he's not doing. In the back of his mind, if he really wants to be honest about it, there's something. This guy came in, he was hungry. And he showed something in practice. He got the opportunity, and he cashed in. And that's what players respect. And at least on the culture of this team, you're not going to hear Scotty Miller cry about it. You're not going to hear Tyler Johnson cry about it. You're going to see everybody celebrate. But I do have to ask, and this is why the Bears are the Bears, and this is why the Lions are Lions. How do you have a guy like that and not figure out how to, like, he's not even good enough to make your team? Like, you're sending him out. And by all accounts, this guy is a great teammate. Like, he's not a problem guy. He's not, he does everything he's asked. I mean, it just goes to show you how bad some organizations are in terms of personnel and how good others are.
Yeah. It's hard to put your finger on it. I think John Ledger yesterday kind of summed it up pretty well. Every time Perriman has been like, it looks like his career is over, he does something like this, and he puts himself.
Lazarus.
He said the same thing when the Bucs took a flyer on him in 2019. By that time, or 2019, he had been in the league for like 5-6 years.
Yeah,
hadn't really done much with the opportunity as a first-round pick.
Yeah,
but he keeps making plays to keep himself in the game. There is something to say about that, I think.
Yeah, hats off, no question to that kid and making that move and that big play in that spot. Let's hear from Brady talk about Perriman as well. Man, what a moment to pick that guy out in that situation and trust him.
Yeah, we had a crosser called, and they kind of jumped Mike going across the field and left BP back there, and I just kind of picked him out of the corner of my eye and got it to him, and he made a great catch and run. So he's got great speed, and once I saw him in open field, I was going to go, BP, run. And he did. But our defense did a great job there at the end of the game, holding him to a field goal, and then got him off the field there to start overtime and gave us a chance. And we made a couple plays, but we all know we could play a lot better than that.
Well, not in the first half. I was about as perfect the first half as you can play. We're watching some of the highlights right now and watching the Josh Allen lead play. He runs in for a touchdown. You talk about momentum and a gassed defense. They were gassed.
I thought this play right here.
Dawson knocked a little dump off.
I looked at Casey. I said, "That's game. That's game." I really thought it was.
Well, that got him down to the 20-yard line with about a minute to play. And here's the that's PI. Bro.
Yeah, that's PI.
This is Carlton Davis fighting. You know what though? He turns his head around. I'll say this. They're both hand fighting. Diggs is pushing off. Carlton Davis pushing off. Carlton gets his head back. And so that's why they didn't call. More than that not being called is some of the calls earlier in the and then there's Perriman going touchdown. He puts the ball down and spins it, and the employee ran over and grabbed
he was already running on the side all the way across the field to get that ball.
How about that? I heard Gronk had a huge family contingent at his house. A friend of mine lives near him and said there was a party going on Saturday night. And I'm like, well, Gronk wasn't there. I mean, he was at the hotel with the team. He's like, oh, yeah, that's right. He goes, but there was a party going on. They had a huge, huge contingent. They just showed a picture of their box. And, man, if you're first of all, if you're from Buffalo and you're in the Gronk box, you can't be. There's probably a lot of them there that are like, but they had time to get over it while he was with the Patriots. But I was talking to one Bills fan, and I'm like, bro, is Brady in your nightmares? Is this just like you come down here? It's a big game for you guys. It's like for this season, and this guy shows up. Like you got to go play Brady and Gronk again, and then I didn't see him after the game, but it was just at halftime, and it's like 24-3. He's like, I spent $4,000 on this trip, man. It's just awful.
$4,000 on this trip? Ooh.
Yeah, think about it. Flights. Well, you know what the hotels were like this weekend? There was a couple of things going on.
I can't even imagine.
Because my friends were down here, and they got a room at the Embassy Suites, and I think they were going for like $350.
$350 at the Embassy?
Yeah.
For a night?
Yeah. So, hotels were $350, $400, $500 a night. The JW, I'm sure, was probably about $650 a night. And so you figure 3 nights hotel, plane, tickets, all in, food, drink. $4,000.
Hey, the Bucs right now are the hottest ticket in sports, arguably.
Yeah, boy, they were this weekend.
That.
Wow.
You know that more than anybody right now.
Everybody was just trying to. Well, we heard from Sal that Bills players couldn't even get tickets for their family. And I tell you what, never seen more traffic yesterday. That was a freaking tight sellout. That was there was probably, what are these, 6 seats, 65?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah. They sold a lot of, let's say, standing room only. Yeah, for I know they don't sell those, but like for luxury boxes and whatnot, it was packed. There was not a freaking inch in that stadium that wasn't covered by somebody. It's great, but that's what it's what should be. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to get to some of the rest of the games in the NFL. And boy, I thought Thought the Packers were on the ropes there yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh, if the Bears can pull this off and get the Packers out of our way. And tonight we got the Cardinals and Rams. Big game for the Buccaneers. Stay with us. Who wants free mobile service? I do, and you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up. Is your health care way too expensive? Well, with the new Biden administration, health care laws have changed dramatically. Now you can get health care insurance through the Affordable Care Act for little or no cost to you. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. Great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Absolutely love it. I'm paying $600 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. The representative will walk you through the whole process. Just get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. They know all the intricacies of these new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. This opportunity will not last long, and you'll have to wait till 2022 to get the deal. So give them a call. It's real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244. 877-652-0244. Are you in the market for a refinance or looking for a new home? You got to call my man, Fitz the Mortgage Guy, Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. I have got literally a notebook here of testimonials on what a great job he's done for so many of our listeners. Scott saved me $1,200 up front. Scott paid for my appraisal. Scott got my PMI taken off. Scott helped me pay off my car. They didn't give him money, but he refinanced everything for these folks and showed them a great strategy to get rid of a lot of their debt. He's not just a mortgage broker. He's like a financial counselor, and he's passionate to get you the lowest rate and keep you from paying those upfront lender fees. You know those folks that say, we'll pay your closing costs? Well, then they come back and hit you with all these other fees. Folks, go to a local guy who's got a great reputation, been in the business for 20 years here, done 3,000 local mortgages. Scott Fitzgerald. Email him, scott@amstampa.com. That's scott@amstampa.com. JP, Santa, and young St. Nick. Get us right over here. My partner for the Golden Diamond Source. You hear that? Christmas music. It's Christmas time. You just popped a question to your lady from the Golden Diamond Source diamond that you got.
Yes, I did. The Golden Diamond Source, the best place to go get your diamond for an engagement. They helped me out so much. They were so courteous to me for somebody who's so nervous. And it's Christmas time, like you said. If you're thinking about popping the question, you need to go to Golden Diamond Source.
It's the Jewelry Supercenter, fully stocked, fully staffed, and yes, just a short drive from downtown Tampa or wherever you're coming from, right there on Ulmerton Road. Avoid the madness at the malls. And whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for that 10-carat custom design, they have it all. 9 jewelers in-house ready to make your dreams come true. Even layaways, 100% interest-free financing up to 5 years. Shop now for your best selection at the Gold and Diamond Source and make your lady wonderfully happy, like Nick did. That's absolutely. Shop anytime online at thegoldanddiamond.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. If you have any issues with your builder, you just built a home and it's not up to snuff, and you feel like you have not gotten your best due, well, give him a call and he'll give you a free consultation, and you can explain to him what went wrong, what you think you should be compensated for, and he'll go after him for you. They can do that. And also, if you have issues with stucco, and keep an eye on the stucco on your house, and there's a warranty involved if it's 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, because once that stuff starts cracking, you can get water damage. You can lead to black mold. You don't want that to happen. So he's an expert in the stucco damage as well, water intrusion, any type of storm damage. And this might be a good time to mention, man, my heart's, have you seen the video of the tornadoes in the Midwest? Oh my goodness. 80 some people died. Like unbelievable.
The entire Amazon warehouse building just collapsed in small town of Mayfield, Kentucky, 10,000 people. That's it. And to get something like that happen. Crazy.
I mean, yeah, and that's going to affect them for a long, long time in terms of jobs and whatnot. And just, tornadoes are just, I mean, we live in obviously where hurricanes are obviously a part of just everyday life, it seems like, but when they're coming. You have a pretty good idea how to get. There's no as much technology as we have these days. There's just no defense for it, and it's senseless. But if you have any storm damage or anything like that, it's Christopher Palermo. He will fight for you. Just go to PalermoPA.com. That's PalermoPA.com, and you get your free consultation, and he will hook you up and fight for you. All right. Around the NFL, obviously, we're watching the Packers quite closely, and the Bears get a couple of special teams touchdowns, and they're beating the Packers, and you're thinking, wow, this could be one of those games, just one of those games. But of course, the Bears could not finish, and that sucks. Sorry about that, folks. But the interesting part about this, and we've been talking about it, Aaron Rodgers, 341, 4 tutties. Watched a little bit of that game. That guy's just freaking unbelievable. He's so good to watch. But he did say after the game that he may have to have surgery on his toe because it's worse than it was before. And they lose one of their offensive tackles again, right? Who was it? Turner.
Yeah, Billy Turner.
Yeah. So they're getting a little thin on the offensive line. It's shades of Kansas City last year. The Super Bowl, right?
Well, here's the thing for them, though. They're getting 3 pretty big pieces back in the next couple weeks. Bakhtiari, left tackle. Jair Alexander at corner. Zadarius Smith on the edge. They're doing this without those 3 guys for majority of the year. So I know Billy Turner definitely is a little bit of a setback, but those other 3 guys, after Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, is probably the 3 most important players on the team.
Yeah, they're gonna be good. That's why, again, you heard after the game, people starting to talk now about running the table and getting that. I'm telling you, that's what this is going to come down to. Whether we play them Lambeau, we play them here.
And I think it's a fascinating debate. Who has a better chance to win on the road? Because the Bucs haven't lost at home. They clearly have some kind of home field advantage going on right now. They've built that up. But Green Bay, we have evidence though of teams going in to beat Green Bay in NFC Championship games. 2012, 2007, the Packers
Bucs last year.
The Packers, I mean, literally, they've played in a lot of NFC Championship games at home and haven't really able to win.
Right.
It's happened before. I don't really want to take my chances with it because there looks like there's a unique quality to this Packers Aaron Rodgers team, this whole last dance they have going on. It does like it's special over there. So absolutely, I want it at Raymond James.
Yeah, it's going to be the difference, I think. Well, and again, we say, the Bucs went up there last year. It certainly wasn't 20,000 like they said it was going to be. It was loud up there, but it was also basically a 35-degree day.
Yes,
which ain't going to happen again ever in late January. So no, it means everything. Now you look at the Bucs schedule the rest of the way. This was their biggest speed bump, and they got over it. So now they've got 2 games against Carolina,
New Orleans,
and the Jets. So we get the Saints next week at home, Sunday Night Football, right?
Yeah, Sunday Night Football next week.
Yeah,
big one.
So but the Saints won yesterday, and they're finding themselves a little bit. But you got to win this game. We got all week to talk about it, so we'll get to that. But tonight, I mean, it's a big game. The Rams and the Cardinals. Cardinals still sitting there with 2 losses, and the Bucs got to have the Rams tonight. Got to have the Rams. Step up, boys. Do something. Stop getting trampled.
Unsoft yourself, please. Please.
Is that a word?
I just made it a word. I mean, come on.
I think it is a word. So yesterday, the Packers get a big win, and they keep rolling. But hey, listen, if Rodgers has to get surgery, that's going to be different. I don't know if it's a pinky toe. I get it, but if you can't, that's hard to run. I don't care what toe is broken; it's hard to run. But he certainly seems to be playing pretty damn well with it as it is. So I won't count on that, but I still think it's a factor. All right, we got to talk about the Jags and Urban Meyer. What the F is going on? You did a story about it last week, the kind of leading up to this. So give us a little background with the James Robinson story. Their fine back, who last year was the rookie of the year, incredible. Where'd this guy come from? And instead of building on that, Urban Meyer's just crapped all over it.
Yeah, so this year he's yet to receive any game of 20 carries or more. He had 4 or 5 of those last year, I believe. It doesn't make any sense. He's had a lot of games under 10 carries, splitting time with Carlos Hyde of all people.
Former Ohio State
former Ohio
Buckeye,
State
coached
Buckeye.
by Urban Meyer.
So it came to a head Sunday's 37-7 loss to the Rams. James Robinson, first quarter fumble, doesn't see the field again to the third quarter. Carlos Hyde fumbles a few drives later. He's out there on the next drive. James Robinson has 3 carries in the last 2 minutes of the game for whatever reason. Urban Meyer says he was injured. Did not bench him. James Robinson the next day says, I don't know what he's talking about. Then he's asked, why did you put him in there late in the game if he was injured? And Urban Meyer said, that's a good question. And that was it. Then Trevor Lawrence on Wednesday called out Urban Meyer a little bit, and they had a conversation on the sideline where he was like, he needs to play more. So then we get to yesterday against the Titans, and James Robinson got 3 touches in the first half. That's it. 3 touches for James Robinson, a guy who ran over 1,000 yards in his rookie year last season. After all that happened, they get shut out again, this time to the Tennessee. And we've seen the video, the handshake to Mike Vrabel, that he didn't even really look at him at all.
Coward.
And we had the whole leaks that came out on Saturday from Tom Pelissaro, NFL Network, with all these run-ins that have happened in last weeks, getting into it with Marvin Jones, having a meeting with the coaches and saying that I'm a winner and y'all are losers, and forced them to defend their resumes. He hired all these people, by the way, might I add.
Unbelievable.
So, and he just looks disinterested. He looks very disinterested losing
Where
with
have we
this
seen
team.
this before? You know, when trouble starts, Urban Meyer's out.
He is.
Well, he's the greatest front runner ever. But when there's adversity, he's out. He's out. And that's the guy you're going to hold at. This ain't college anymore, bro. When you got a decided talent advantage every week. And you know, this is big boy football. These are men that you can't intimidate. These are men that you can't just, you know, tell them that if they don't do it your way, you're just going to ship them off to some other school or worse than that, bench him and not allow him to leave. That's who Urban Meyer is. He's not a quality. No, what coach would knowingly put a guy out there that you know has just shot 3 people with 5 shots in Gainesville? This happened back in Gainesville with Aaron Hernandez, and he knew that everybody knew. The cops knew, but they couldn't arrest him because the guy they wouldn't ID him because they knew that Aaron Hernandez was part of a gang, and if they ID'd him, they'd be dead. So, but doesn't mean as a coach you can't kick the guy off your team. Doesn't mean as a coach you can't say no, thank you, don't need it around here. But no, Urban Meyer's the type of human being that if you can play, it doesn't matter who you kill. I mean, it's simple as that. The guy didn't die, thankfully, but you know, it's just this is the type of person Urban Meyer is. And then, of course, when things got a little tough in Florida, you know, my heart. Oh, I'm having some issues, some health issues, and I need to take some time away. Oh, well, then why are you at ESPN now? I mean, it's just the guy's just a complete.
He's fake
fraud. He's a complete phony and a complete fraud. And you know what he's doing right now? He wants to get fired. He figured it's too hard for him. So now he's doing stuff, you know, whether he's self-sabotaging unconsciously or doing it consciously, he wants out, but he wants to collect his money on the way out the door. So now Shad Khan has to fire this guy and eat the contract.
And
why you hire someone with this ethical and moral issues, clearly all the way down the whole incident, you know, not flying back with your team and then feeling up some girl in your bar.
How about beginning of the year before this started? What was his first hire? The strength coach who was fired at Iowa for being racist.
Yeah.
Can't read a room.
Yeah.
Read a room at all.
Character. Once again, doesn't matter.
It's what I'm saying. This guy has
I'm Urban Meyer. Do whatever the hell I want.
He's got no character bone in his body. Nope. And I had the biggest concern before the season began. Trevor Lawrence had never lost a regular season game heading into this season with Jacksonville. You knew he was going to lose 13, 14, 15 games this year. Urban Meyer doesn't lose games either, has no NFL coaching experience. Who's Trevor Lawrence going to lean on when he's learning how to lose in the NFL? The guy that doesn't know either?
I said it at the time is the worst hire ever. Worst hire ever. Dude is not a professional coach, but worse than that, he's not a good leader of men. He's not a leader of men. You can get away with that in college because you can intimidate kids. And if you're at a program like Ohio State, it's going to recruit itself. It's a rah-rah. You can, you know, you're the man. You can hide all your phoniness because you basically run the world in those places. You have way too much power. Doesn't work that way in the NFL. Guys got to trust you. You've got to be, you know, you've got to be authentic. It just doesn't work. So do we have some of the Urban Meyer sound? Yesterday's ass kicking afterwards. Four interceptions for Trevor Lawrence, who never threw more than 2 in a game at Clemson. I mean, it's just a disaster. And listen to this. This is the post-game speech. He was asked about the reports from Tom Pelissero about the run-ins with Marvin Jones Jr.
But we don't have the audio of that one. It hasn't lingered out the audio.
Okay, I thought we had.
But we do have actual quote that he said about the league was what's the answer? Start leaking some information or nonsense ? That's garbage. If there's a source in this building, then that source is unemployed. I mean, within seconds was what he said to that.
Yeah, and he also denied that it happened, but we know that it did.
That wasn't exactly an admission of guilt,
right,
to be honest.
Yeah. There in other parts he said, no, it never happened, blah, blah, blah. And he's lying. He's lying. I mean, if you're Shad Khan, you got to fire the guy today. I mean, you're gonna have to eat the money eventually. Just eat it. It's just the way it's gonna go down. All right, other storylines from yesterday's games in the NFL. We talked about Rodgers 20-0. The Jags are just a disaster. The Saints beat the Jets 30-9 up in the Meadowlands. I think the Jets are just so depleted right now that they're just not that the Saints aren't a good football team. They are a good football team, and you can't take anything for granted. They're still a very good defensive team, and they're starting to find their way a little bit on offense.
Well, they were able to get Kamara back yesterday, I believe, which was big for them. But Taysom Hill, I mean, you know what you're getting out of Taysom Hill. It's why going into this game on Sunday, we'll get more into it as the week goes on. Taysom Hill doesn't really scare me from a quarterbacking standpoint. No. I don't think he strikes fear at anybody. It's the Jets. You know what you're going to get from that team. So I expected the Saints to go in there and do that. One of the other big games that I kept an eye on, though, was Dallas-Washington. Has some pretty big implications there.
Interesting game.
Your boy, Taylor Heineke, it brought me so much pleasure to watch that.
Not his best moments.
No.
He got smoked.
No, he got smoked by
Myles Garrett?
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons, yeah. Michael Parsons is a freaking beast. We knew he'd be good, but my goodness, he's going to be the defensive player of the year.
He might be. He might 12 sacks already this year, and he's got 4 games to go.
God, he steamrolled Heineke, that poor little dude. And Heineke looked just like a little baby in his arms.
Yeah, and that was the real Taylor Heineke that came out, folks.
Stop.
It's a mirage.
Stop. And he was under siege the whole time. How's my guy supposed to get anything done?
Do you see the passes he made in that game? He's just throwing fluttering ducks in the middle of the field, like back-to-back plays. And
he was beat up.
Quadruple coverage.
He was beat up. Yeah, that was not his best start. So, but listen, the Cowboys, Dak Prescott was not good. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He threw a horrible pick 6 at the end. I was watching the highlights this morning. I'm like, what's he even thinking? I mean, he threw it right to the guy in the open field. I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
I don't like the trend the Dallas offense is going. This has been about 4 or 5 weeks where he's been just off right now.
And I think the guys on Get Up this morning, I think, kind of nailed it. He's playing scared. He's really playing scared. He's not running around. He's not doing the things he did early on in the season. I mean, the game he played here, he was phenomenal. I mean, he was really, really good. He was accurate. He was moving around. He was like Josh Allen yesterday. But that guy we saw yesterday is just a shell of the guy we saw in week 1 against the Bucs.
And they know how much they need Tony Pollard too.
Yeah.
I mean, tell you what, I don't break down the Cowboys film often, but I have a hard time believing right now that Zeke Elliott's better than Tony Pollard, just based on the eye test.
He's not at all. So I think in the grand scheme of things, Cowboys are going to win the East now, but they're not a factor. I don't. Their defense is pretty damn good. And I know the Bucs didn't blow them out in week 1, but the Cowboys got to come here again. I'm not terrified.
If you have to have Dak throw 40, 50 times again, like he had to do, which you're going to do against the Bucs because you can't run. The way he's playing right now, I don't see it. I really don't. I
think that's a good matchup for the Bucs. The Chiefs, they have hit their stride. 48-9 yesterday. Love Rich Bisaccia, good dude. Good. I think he's a good leader of men. If it was his idea to get on the Chiefs logo and start talking shiz, do a little team meeting there, it's probably a bad idea.
A little bit.
I don't think it worked out, man. Yeah. I knew you're trying to get your team up for a big game, but that probably wasn't a good idea. So the Chiefs were just, and Mahomes seems to be calming down a little bit. It seems to not be, as much sidearm craziness stuff. And
it's their defense.
Their defense, though, is ridiculous.
And of course, Carolina Cam. Got to get into Carolina Cam.
Yeah. Yeah, I
benched again.
Yeah, and PJ Walker, but he was pretty damn good in the XFL. Where did he play college ball at?
PJ Walker?
Yeah.
I don't even remember PJ Walker in college. He kind of just popped up.
Yeah. Trying to remember one place is it Fresno? Anyway, Lamar Jackson, by the way, suffered an ankle injury. So the Ravens Temple. Yeah, that's right. Temple. Played for Matt Rule there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where Matt Rule.
The connection.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So Lamar Jackson gets an ankle injury. The Ravens are so depleted. I know that they're probably, they have a good chance to win their division, but not without Lamar Jackson. They ain't going anywhere. I mean, Huntley's a gamer. I kind of like that kid, but they just don't have enough. They're supposed to have this power running game, and with all these great backs, and they're all injured. They're all ACL'd. So I don't think the Ravens are a factor.
They got 16 guys on injured reserve right now.
Wow.
They've lost Marlon Humphrey last week prior to that. They got nothing left in the tank, I think, right now. I don't.
No, I don't either. So I think if you look around the league, the 49ers beat the Bengals yesterday, 26-23. Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers are just a weird team. And with George Kittle is just destroying people. He's untackleable. Is that a word?
That's a word.
I mean, you can't when he gets running down the field, with his speed, his agility, and he runs like a freaking freight train. I think he's a couple steps faster than Gronk. I think he's bigger than Gronk. I mean, he is a beast.
He's the class of that position right now.
Wow.
Blocking down the field. The 49ers, they're just, to me, they're too week to week for me. They're so week to week. I mean, last week they lost to Seattle. Then they come here on the road and beat Cincinnati, another week to week team, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think San Francisco puts them at 7-6. They're going to get in the postseason, I think. And I guess you never say never with Jimmy Garoppolo.
We could see him,
but that's a
one.
team we could see week one.
Yeah. I got to look a little bit closer at them, but I agree with you. They're just too week to week. They're 7-6 now.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, it's another team that doesn't scare me if I'm the Buccaneers having to play them at home.
Yeah, not really.
Not in fear. The Chargers beat the Giants 37-21 against the Chargers. The Chargers they're another week to week team. Justin Herbert we know how talented he is, but he
had to throw the day yesterday, though. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. He threw that ball like 70 yards in the air right in stride.
Yeah. That's who this guy is. I saw it with my own eyes that dude is just, man, when he steps back and rips it, it's as good as anybody in the league. And he throws such a tight spiral too. Just really, really good stuff. Anything else? Any other things around the league? Seattle beat Houston 33-13 in the James Petrarca Bowl. We'll talk to James on Wednesday, as we always do. Fox Sports. I guess Russell Wilson can still play. And we'll go with that. 17-28, 260.
Not washed up yet.
No. I think he has I'll be very interested to see where he goes next. Very interested. We mentioned Lamar getting hurt early on, and Cleveland wins 24-22. There's just that pack of teams right there in the AFC. They're just average. I look at anybody in the AFC now. It's the Chiefs and the Patriots. Yeah. The way it's been for the last 5 years, except for COVID year when Belichick took a year off. It's Chiefs and Patriots again. And I mean, is there any doubt that's going to be the AFC Championship game? Nobody else.
They just look like the best right now. They really do. And I think they are the 1 and 2 seed, correct? It would be the Patriots first, then the Chiefs.
If they're not now, yeah. So that's a big deal. So right now, you really look at the NFL. I think you can boil it down to Packers, Bucks. Where's the game going to be played?
Yeah, fair.
Chiefs, Patriots. Where's the game going to be played? Even though Arrowhead is not, it's not like, it's an indoors versus like the Bucks. The biggest disparity is Raymond James and Lambeau Field. Like Arrowhead in January is going to be just as cold as freaking New England, but it's still that home field advantage, where Belichick turns your headsets off in the third and fourth quarter. That just the opportune time. People are like, does that happen? Yes, it does happen. Happens a lot, actually. And maybe listens in a little bit here and there. So yeah, I think there's a decided home field advantage for them in New England. So to me, that's what there could be some catastrophic injuries to both teams, but right now I'd say you have a collision course between the Patriots and the Chiefs, Where's the game going to be played? Packers and Bucks, where's the game going to be played?
And what do you think tonight? We talked about it a little bit ago.
Yeah, which makes tonight's game really
Rams
important.
Cardinals.
Yeah.
You've been saying, the Cardinals, you're not scared to go into that stadium in the playoffs. They haven't been in that moment, I guess. But what happens tonight? If they beat the Rams tonight, does it change anything for you? Does it move the needle at all?
Let's watch them play. And still the whole wild card for Arizona, even though they win games without Kyler Murray, it's not like he can carry them and has carried them, but that's a good roster. It's a good roster. They've got a good defense. They're better than I think people think, like myself. But it's different in December, and when the playoff push is on, it's just different. And these guys have not proven anything in that regard. The Bucs have. The Packers have to some degree. They, not back to Super Bowl, but they win playoff games. The Cardinals have not. So that's why. But still, I don't want to have to worry about it. I want home field advantage throughout. And tonight's a big game because there's not a whole lot of games on that schedule that the Cardinals can lose. All right, we'll take a break. And when we come back, I want to get into some other stuff that happened over the weekend. The Lightning finally had a stinker, but, that was bound to happen at some point. We'll talk about that and some little hangover from some of the last week's stories. Want to put a button on the Florida State athletic director story. Got some more information over the weekend, so we'll do that for you as well. Stay with us. JP here for Roof Max, and if you own a home or business with an asphalt shingle roof, listen up. Shingles are made from a petrochemical, just like the roads, so they get old, get brittle, and have to be replaced for tens of thousands of dollars. But not anymore. Remember this name, Roof Max. They have created a natural bio oil that is professionally sprayed on a dried out roof. It doesn't clean it, coat it, or seal it. It actually penetrates the shingle and brings back its bendability and weatherproofing properties to almost new. So the question is, does it work? Yeah, the research was done by Ohio State University independently, and it's clinically proven to work. It's guaranteed for up to 15 years. Now, one of the sharks on Shark Tank invested in this, so it's great, and they've successfully rejuvenated tens of thousands of roofs. So yes, it worked. So don't shell out $20,000 for a new roof. Call RoofMax at 352-559-9981 or go to roofmaxnorthflorida.com. That's 352-559-9981. Get it done for a fraction of the price of a new roof, guaranteed. Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now, so go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com. Who wants free mobile service? I do, and you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up. Let's go.
Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome. The JP Peterson Show brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. If you have some issues with your builder or homeowner's insurance, your claim was not what you thought it would be, get a free consultation, and Kurt will represent you. He has gained back millions and millions of dollars for his clients in these lawsuits. So don't take what the insurance company gives you. Fight for what you believe is right, and he will do that for you. Christopher Palermo, he is a 5-generation Tampanian and very well-known Jesuit graduate, and he's comes with a sparkling reputation. He will help you out. Christopher Palermo, that's at PalermoPA.com. All right. The Lightning over the weekend, a bit of a dud. Got shut out by Ottawa. Special teams, not good, but I think for the most part, that's got to be a great road trip. I mean, in terms of getting points. And I know, the Boston game, they were completely outclassed, but you got 2 points. You came back and won in overtime. There are moments where this team has been outplayed 5-on-5. Their special teams are not great right now, but they're banking points. So I would say, all in all, when you look at you talk about a road trip, it was the longest road trip. They had one home game in the middle of that, but they were just only home for a couple of days and then back out. So it's almost been like a 2-week road trip for this team. And to do as well as they've done, I think we're in good shape. We're in good shape. Injuries starting to catch up a little bit. There's no doubt.
Yeah, you can't play as many games without Sorelli and all these guys and not lay a stinker. Fortier is a really young guy to be playing on the second line right now. He's not as developed by any means, but it's a great road trip. There's not many teams in the NHL that can go and do what they just did, especially given the circumstances, and they were able to do it. Any game Brian Elliott's in there, and I think he's played all right in some circumstances.
Yeah.
But let's face it, there is a noticeable drop off. He's going to allow some goals that Vasilevsky
100%.
just will not. That's just the thing. I don't know how NHL players feel about those 1:00 starts on Saturdays.
Hate them.
Probably hate them.
Hate them.
It's weird.
It's totally takes them out of their routine. Yeah. But they get 8 out of 10 points on the road trip. They have the best going into the Ottawa game. They had the best road record in the NHL at 9-3-2. And this is with just a mountain of injuries. So you know what? It's all good. The Lightning, I think, are in good shape, but they just got to start getting some of these guys back and stop getting so many injuries. I mean, it's just that's the way it goes. That's puck luck, so to speak.
Yeah, and the schedule unfortunately doesn't. It kind of sucks. They get 2 home games here real quick, and they go right back on the road for 3 all the way out west. This is a hard stretch for the Lightning right now. Very hard stretch.
Yeah, they're going to go to Vegas.
They got to go Colorado on Saturday, who's playing outstanding.
Yeah.
And then you get Vegas and Arizona. That's a tough West Coast swing.
Where are we playing Arizona? Did they make their payment?
Ooh, that's the 23rd. So
that's first game after their payments due.
First game after. Who knows where it's be? Might be outside somewhere. Might be home.
They might be back in Tampa. Yeah, in fact, maybe Arizona might be relocating to Tampa to play their home games. That's the most bizarre thing ever.
Yeah.
They owe $250 million to the Gila Center, and evidently they want to kick them out because they can make more money without them. Yeah, I mean, the NHL just move it to Quebec.
Well, Gary Bettman shot down already.
What? Why?
He just said the NHL's staying in Arizona. I don't get it. I mean,
how?
It just makes no sense. They've been a bad hockey team their entire franchise. They can't pay anything. Attendance wise, you know how many people they get to a game average this year? Around 9,000. It's under 50% of the arena being filled. Nobody clearly gives a damn.
I kind of feel like we're talking about the way that people talk about the Rays.
Yeah,
we're not there, and I do know this that their stadium is out in Glendale, which for a football game every now and then is fine. But again, the Tuesday, Thursdays, Monday, Wednesdays game,
1 home games.
Yeah. I think it's very similar. So I don't want to talk out of turn. I'm going to sound like one of those people. Oh, the Rays, they're so good and nobody shows up for their games. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I get it, but so I don't speak too out of turn. We'll let them handle that. But I would guess that the NHL will find a way to, if they're, and especially listen, maybe the league needs to step up and help them pay for it. League's making plenty of money. They got their new TV deal.
I don't know if they caught up on everything, but they did make a payment over the weekend. I did see.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're all the way caught up, though.
All right. Bo Nix is leaving Auburn as we go do a little college here. That's weird to me because the dude's a lifer. I mean, his dad played quarterback there. He's Auburn blood running through, War Eagle blood running through his veins. He's had a lot of big moments. What's going on there?
And the team was really good with him this year.
Yeah.
I know Auburn on the surface looks like 6-6 football team.
Yeah.
Bo
and
Nix,
I know he's not a great quarterback.
He's not a great quarterback, but
he's just like, he's royalty there.
Yeah, he's royalty. He was a highly rated recruit. I think more interesting than Bo Nix was their running back, Tank Bigsby, entered the portal this morning. He is actually one of the best running backs in college football.
Oh, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
So I don't know what's going on at Auburn, but I don't think it's a good sign when your starting quarterback and starting running back are both say
no.
goodbye.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
As a UCF guy, those are guys that Gus Malzahn recruited. That's what the transfer portal is about. There's the connections are there. So that might be a big get for UCF, honestly, to get Bo Nick, because they need a quarterback now with Gabriel out.
That's right.
Tanks Bigsby, it wouldn't hurt to have him either. They brought in Big Pat Bryant from Auburn last year in the portal. He was UCF's best defensive player. So there's a connection there.
Yeah.
Never say never on that one. But
it's interesting. We don't even think about the transfer portal, like in terms of what signing day, you get players, what's your team going to look like next year? Like the transfer portal now, transfer portal season is like NFL free agency. It's changing the entire landscape of college football. Now, those two players right there, I don't think Nick moves the needle as much as some of these other guys. What's the kid moving from Ohio State to Texas?
That's very significant. Very significant.
That's a significant move that has a Joe Burrow kind of feel to it a little bit.
I don't know if you know the whole story behind him, but he was the number 1 overall recruit.
Right, I know that.
He committed to Texas originally. He forgoed his senior year to go to Ohio State to get the NIL money.
Right, exactly.
CJ Stroud's a Heisman finalist, writing's on the wall, and now he goes right back to Texas.
Yeah.
And he's going to start day 1 at Texas. And I don't want to be the guy that Texas is back, but I'm just saying I think him and Vince Young are the 2 highest quarterback prospects ever in the history of high school football.
You got to be careful with that, though, because, playing quarterback in high school and playing quarterback in college are so different. It just is. And you can have a weak arm in high school and get away with it.
Yeah.
And you can't, not at that level. And you just can't. So I would have to wait to see him. But I mean, you just look at situations like Joe Burrow, and now that's the creme de la creme of the situations. But it's important. Pay attention to what's going on right now in the transfer portal. It's very, very important.
It's crazy. And
there's right now, transferring over to FSU, I have heard a lot of positive rumblings. I know that Max Johnson, Brad Johnson's son, who played at LSU, and I thought has played very well given the circumstances. I think he's a very good quarterback. I think he can. So they're looking around now. Where's their landing spot? And I say there. His other son, Jake, is a baby Gronk. I mean, he is the biggest, baddest tight end coming out, number 1 prospect at the tight end position, probably top 15, top 20 overall players. And where those guys go, immediate contenders. I mean, if you're going, and they're going to go to a big program. Could it be Florida State? I think it very well could be Florida State.
They got to be in the running. I told you, if it needs a quarterback, there's no doubt about it.
And remember when Max was recruited, Willie Taggart was there.
Yeah.
And they decided to go to LSU. And I think there was also a sense of, we talked to Brad about this on our show when he came on our show, is that I wanted him to be his own man. Don't try to follow in my footsteps to Florida State or do anything. Just make your choice where you feel comfortable. And that's where, I wish we could replay that interview. It was such a great, I thought, a take from Brad on how to handle recruiting and let your kids, you can guide them, but you really need to let them make the decision. So now that the Coach O is out, where do they go? And I think Florida State is very much in the mix. And if they go there, what happens to AJ Duffy from IMG? Does he still come to Florida State? I don't know.
Well, he's already announced that he's signing. He already announced the day he's signing. He already has that set up. So we know he's definitely coming to Florida State. But this is the thing that makes it tough, because Chubba Purdy, he left right away because of stuff like this. He saw the writing on the wall that he was probably second, third in line at the quarterback position. That's the last thing you want with AJ Duffy to happen. Based on everything I've heard about AJ Duffy, and we just said it 2 minutes ago, high school and college, very different. Based on what we've heard about AJ Duffy, he's the kind of guy that could come into the program. If things hadn't happened last year with Jordan Travis at the end, he would start day 1. That's kind of been what I've heard. But we'll see on that. But you have to keep Duffy, and that's just such a hard thing for a college coach, though. I don't want to be making these decisions, but FSU definitely needs somebody else in that room, because you can't rule out with just Jordan Travis and AJ Duffy. I don't think
you can't.
Because
you can, but right now you want 2 or 3. You want at least 2, obviously, and you want 3 really good guys in your quarterback room. But it's impossible to keep top prospects, 3 top prospects. It's just impossible to do it. There's too many openings in too many places, and so it's going to be. And it's a juggling act for Mike Norvell right now. If you're hearing that Max is coming, and he's bringing his little brother, that's got to be your first choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm biased. Get your choice. If you had the choice, Jordan Travis has got another year of eligibility. That kid owns this team. Like, if you force him out as the starting quarterback, you might lose the rest of this team. But you're also, you got a kid like Mac Johnson coming in who's he's just a better overall quarterback. I think you could be it, but Jordan has just been such a gamer.
Here's the FSU's in a tricky spot. I'm big on finding an identity, and FSU found it last year
with their
with the running game.
Yeah, but
I understand that
it's limited.
It's limited. I get it, but do you want to know why they had to find that identity and be a running team? Because they don't have the horses out wide to throw the ball.
Exactly.
They don't.
They don't have an offensive line.
They don't have the offensive line to pass block. It's going to get better. They have transfers coming in. They've recruited very well. I get that. But you're not going to see that really change in at least another 2 years probably. That's what happened with Mackenzie Milton. They wanted him to be the quarterback. He didn't have the horses on the outside to throw it 30 times a game. We don't. Right now, the
offensive line to protect him because he couldn't run.
They found the perfect mixture of Jordan throwing 15 times a game and then running 40-something times a game.
And with him running a lot.
Yeah, you put Mac Johnson in there, he threw it 40 times a game at LSU. I don't know how it's going to work out with FSU's skill guys right now. That's my only concern.
And that brings you to the next point. You're bringing the best tight end in the nation. Yeah. So you're upgrading at two critical positions. And wherever those two go, it's going to be a show.
Yeah. I still think Jordan Travis has to be your guy. The way he ended that year, he clearly has that locker room and that team.
I know.
It's hard to really just kick him to the curb. It just really is.
But I don't think Max is not going to go and, you're not starting at LSU and then going next year and sitting on a bench.
At FSU, especially.
You're not doing that, Yeah. You're not.
That's why that's why it's tough, man. I know you want the tight end. That's the priority, honestly, over Max.
Well, but let me just say a little something to Jordan. You're a gamer, bro. You are. I can't say enough. You're the toughest guy. You sacrificed for FSU more than anybody. I just don't see a future for you in the NFL at quarterback. I don't think he's a consistent enough passer. I don't think he has a strong enough arm, but he is a phenomenal football player. He's Hines Ward. Bro, you can be a big time player. You're Antoine Bolden. Antoine Bolden has had a near Hall of Fame career, moving from quarterback to receiver. I think Jordan Travis think he has just as much ability to do that. And if he moved to the slot, you're upgrading it at that position. You could use him in the run game as well with short screens. I think that's a better. And you bring Max Johnson in. You have a tight end. You put Jordan. You put him in the slot and have a package for him in the goal line as a quarterback. You're a better football team. You're a better football team, and his NFL future is more certain in that way. He could be a Taysom Hill, and I think people will draft him as a Taysom Hill, knowing that he has all those different skills. Am I wrong?
But you're saying have him play that position this year for FSU if Max comes in.
Hell yeah. He's on the field every single play. And and if he doesn't get 15 touches a game, you're doing something wrong from an offensive standpoint. And you have Max and you have the tight end. That's a better football team, and that's inarguable. Mm-hmm. And you don't lose the team because he's an integral part of what you're doing. He's still a captain. He's still your guy. He's touching the ball 15, 20 times a game. 100%. To me, that's your best scenario. But if Jordan listen, a lot of people told Lamar he couldn't play. A lot of people told a lot of guys. So you don't want to, take that opportunity away from him. Only he knows in his heart where he's at. I think I can evaluate pretty well guys who might play at the next level, but I think that's his best shot.
And I am curious though, because we still have to get to camp. There's a long time between now and camp, right?
Right.
We've seen guys going into their senior years that somehow just turn it on out of nowhere as a passer.
Right.
I mean, you could argue Jordan Travis hasn't peaked. I know he wasn't a consistent passer for most of the year, but again, at the end of the year, I thought he was finding something even in the passing
14
game.
Looked pretty good.
And he's had a few passes down the field where he's been pretty accurate. Maybe got let down by some of his receivers. I think there is more there for Jordan Travis as a passer. I just think that FSU, from the skill position standpoint, receiver, tight end, they've got to be way better to even compete.
And he upgrades that position.
He does upgrade that position. Yeah. So FSU's trending. And I told you too, USF also had a big week.
By the way, signing day is Wednesday.
Yeah, signing day is Wednesday. But USF lands 2 transfers on Saturday. How about that? Big ones too.
Yeah. Saw Terrell talking about that Twitter. So tell me about him.
Yeah, the first one was James Gordon, the fourth. He was at Minnesota, linebacker. He went to Plant City High School. So this is a guy who was recruited heavily by USF before. He comes home. That works out pretty good, and he's played a little bit there in Minnesota for 2 years. Some of those Minnesota good teams he was on. So he's going to be fun to watch. And then probably the most important one is Ray Thornton coming in from Clemson. You get a guy like that who was a top 50 recruit in his class.
What position?
He's in the safety. He's safety. And look at the size. 6'1", 207 playing safety.
Nice.
That's NFL size at the safety position. So definitely Clemson guy there. Second Clemson guy, I believe, for them. And they actually have more guys committed from the portal than they do in their recruiting class by design because they have to win games. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, this is a big week for USF. It's a big week for FSU. With a quick break. When we come back, I'll put a button on the FSU athletic director debacle that went down last week. And I'll be honest with you, in covering sports for 30 plus years, I don't think I've ever seen a story like this. Not that it's the biggest story, but it's one of the most bizarre stories that you'll ever hear. And I think, it'll be written by a, one of these national writers at some point, and it will blow you away. But I'll tell you exactly who the main players were and how it went down. And it's pretty bizarre. Stay with us.
Who wants free mobile service? I do, and you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up.
JP, Santa, and young Saint Nick. Get us right over here. My partner for the Golden Diamond Source. You hear that? Christmas music. It's Christmas time. You just popped a question to your lady from the Golden Diamond Source diamond that you got.
Yes, I did. The Golden Diamond Source, the best place to go get your diamond for an engagement. They helped me out so much. They were so courteous to me for somebody who's so nervous. And it's Christmas time, like you said. If you're thinking about popping the question, you need to go to the Golden Diamond Source.
It's the Jewelry Supercenter, fully stocked, fully staffed, and yes, just a short drive from downtown Tampa or wherever you're coming from, right there on Ulmerton Road. Avoid the madness at the malls. And whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for that 10-carat custom design, they have it all. 9 jewelers in-house ready to make your dreams come true. Even layaways, 100% interest-free financing up to 5 years. Shop now for your best selection at the Gold and Diamond Source and make your lady wonderfully happy like Nick did. That's absolutely. Shop anytime online at thegoldanddiamond.com.
Hey, JP here for the Black Rock Bar and Grill, and they got a new menu out, Johnny. This is unbelievable. Some incredible burger creations. Here's my new favorite, mac and cheese burger. Half pound of certified Angus beef, American cheese, bacon, finished with our macaroni and cheese. Are you kidding me? Or a nacho burger with fried jalapenos, grilled onions. They got a ghost pepper chipotle burger. That's hot. Or the Fat Elvis burger. I mean, there's so many good burgers on this thing. It's amazing. What do you like?
I've been taking a look at the seafood section of this summer menu. 8 jumbo shrimp. Unbelievable, man. And it goes perfectly with their burgundy mushrooms.
Oh, I love the mushrooms.
It's delicious.
So good. Of course, you get the steak on a 755-degree stone. You cook it right there in the garlic butter, the casino butter. It's fillets. You can do your shrimp on it, your chicken. It's unlike any other place. It's the Black Rock Bar and Grill. You got to go. It's a new menu. Tell them JP sent you. Brandon and Carrollwood. Get to the Black Rock.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back. JP Peterson Show brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. Get a free consultation. Go to palermopa.com. It was a big weekend for Florida State, welcoming in all of their recruits. Couple of 4-star, 5-star guys that have yet to make up their minds yet. Oregon wide receiver transfer Micah Pittman was there. Interesting. Julian Armella, who's a 5-star offensive lineman that everybody wants. That would be a huge one if FSU can flip him. JUCO defensive back Marquise Gilbert was another one. So right now, the commitments for FSU starts with Travis Hunter at the top, a 2-way defensive back, wide receiver, can do everything. Superstar, 5-star. AJ Duffy, and a bunch of guys you probably never even heard of, but lots of 4 stars. It could be about a top 12 class, you think? And if a couple of guys go with Marvin Jones Jr. goes their way, that could bring them into the top 5.
Yeah, the big one is Jones Jr., which not much confidence at the moment because Alabama, I think he might be a Bama guy.
They've stepped up big NIL wise. Yeah. Just from what I'm hearing, Florida State is just there. It happened back in the Willie Taggart era. The Florida State lost a lot of boosters for whatever reason. It got bad, and I think it wasn't just because of Willie Taggart. It was the last years of Jimbo Fisher and some of the players they were bringing in and some of the things they were doing, maybe more behind the scenes. They just lost. They lost a lot of momentum, lost a lot of financial backing. They're trying to recoup that right now with their NIL. Getting all the boosters together to get the money to the kids, which is all above board now. You can do it. I think the fact that the booster organizations are becoming more organized and involved, it looks very much right now like sitting back professional football. I mean, these guys, they're basically offering these recruits hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it shows their value. And it shows what their value has always been. And when the market is opened up, what are these? But there's college football has got to do something about it. They've got to cap it. They've got to do something. Like I've said for 20 years, 2 decades, blow it up, make the rules fair, get the kids some money, or it's going to be a chit. And this is exactly what we're seeing.
But I'm glad. I feel like this is almost like a test run of all things. That's the way I looked at it. Bryce Young was given $1 million before he even threw a ball.
I know, but the problem is,
but I'm actually making a good point here. For everybody that was saying, "Oh, this is awful for college football," he's not going to try now. He just won the Heisman.
He did.
So it clearly it doesn't matter to these guys.
Well, what do you think in terms of having money and being motivated?
Yes,
that was the weakest argument of all of it. I mean, these guys are going to be, of course, they're going to be motivated. Some might not be, but so what? Those are the guys that are going to wash out anyway. If they don't have the character to want to play and do the things that are necessary, whether they're getting money or not, they're not gonna make it.
Yeah. So
it's that simple. But to me, it's more about. That's why I always argued. So who cares if these guys have money on campus? What is it? Your business. I mean, we can't have that. Kids running around with money. What? It's like the stupidest thing ever. But it was all about greed. It was all about keeping the money for themselves. The administrators, the coaching staffs, all of that, more bigger luxury boxes, more shrimp, more champagne, while the players get squat. And I know, they get an education. Well, maybe they don't want an education. It was just the worst business model in the history of business models.
I hate that.
If you're a player,
I hate that argument too, because I had classes with football players at UCF.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to name any names. They don't even know what their majors are. So
I know.
Them. They don't care about the education.
Yeah, and it's a fraud. Like, we're trying to get these kids through school. They're taking up spaces for kids that actually want to learn. Not all of them. I'm not saying they're dumb jocks, but a lot of them were just and you're having teachers and administrators jumping through hoops for these kids. It's not ethical, And I think you just need to bring college football and basketball into the 21st century and just call it what it is. It's a minor league for professional sports and make it what it is. And right now you're having these booster organizations put together these huge war chests, and they're handing out money, as quote endorsements piece by piece. And it's just, and we're figuring that out as we go. And it's just, I don't know. This is not the way that we should be doing it. It's not the way that we should be doing it. All right. So I wanted to just put a bow on this Florida State athletic director situation, because it is without question the most incredible thing that I've ever seen. And this is from my perspective, having talked to a lot of players involved in this and the critical players, and having, the timeline that we took you through last week while everybody was reporting that Vince Tyra was going to get the job at Florida State. We were telling you it's not a done deal. Hold on. There's a lot of negativity. Once his name surfaced as a possible candidate, there was a lot of negativity out there. I got a bunch of calls. I know other people did as well. And, and this is, as much as I hate to say it's not personal against Mr. Tyra, it is, because it's kind of who he is. And and oddly enough, I have a very good friend who, played high school football with him and is personal friends with him. And, I asked him, what kind of guy is he? He's like, I haven't really kept up with him, but, he's always been a good guy to me, super dude, love to hang out with him, that kind of guy. Well, most of the information I got was from people who worked with him. And those people were less than satisfied. Let's just put it that way. And the way he got the job at Louisville, he had no experience, no athletic experience whatsoever. And it was a time of turmoil up there in Louisville with the Pitino situation and the Petrino situation. There was, you guys know the stories that were happening up there. And it was time of turmoil. And they had an interim president who then hired a search committee to hire the new athletic director. And instead of choosing someone who has had a long history of being in athletics, a former AD, they brought in this guy, Vince Tyra, who was known in the Louisville circles, very well connected in businesses, had run some businesses and run a lot of businesses, couldn't stay at one particular place. So depending on who you talk to, he was a great businessman or he wasn't very good at all. And he kept hopping from one to the next. But at the particular point, he was unemployed. So the guy that was the board of regents who hired the search firm, his good friend was Vince. And somehow the search firm came around to thinking this guy without any experience was the best fit for the University of Louisville. So Louisville paid the search firm like all this money to go search for a new AD. And then the guy that hired the search firm, his best buddy got the job. Interesting. So that's how Vince got the job at University of Louisville. Okay, so they're bringing in an outsider from corporate America to make it more corporate and clean up the department, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you talk to anybody within the department, which I did, multiple people within the last 3-4 years that he's been there, he's done very little fundraising, doesn't want to do fundraising, which is the number one job. He tried to bring in Jeff Brom to be the new head football coach at Louisville. And he went to the president and said, hey, I need this money to hire this guy. And the president said, it's not the way we work in college football. You don't come get the money from me. You go get the money. You go get boosters to give money. Well, here's the problem. He did not build any relationships with those boosters, the big money people at Louisville. In fact, he kind of cut them off because they were associated with the previous athletic director. Not a good strategy in college football. College football and college athletics is about relationships with your boosters. I mean, these are the people, this is the lifeblood of your organization. You have to court these people. This is not business where you're, competing against certain things. You got to court these people. This is your financial resources. When you need to hire Jeff Brom, that's where, you got to go to these people to get the money. So he went to those people that he had really not, developed relationships with. And they're like, what? F off. No, not interested. That never happened. And just in general, if you speak to anybody in the Louisville department, this guy he didn't know what he was doing. He was a disaster. And, he would befriend, a lot of people liked him. He's an affable guy, but, for the people that I talked to were like, if you want to work for him, no. Now other people say, well, it was COVID times and he had to fire a lot of people, so he was unpopular. I get that as well. The bottom line was this guy did not have the experience to get this FSU job. He did not. And by anybody, if he's moving from Louisville to FSU, you want to go look at that department and see some great things that he's done. You don't see that. There's nothing there. They're broke. So it's like, and everybody was trying to find out, well, why is this guy getting the job over Alford, who's been at Seminole Boosters for 15 months, has by all accounts done a tremendous job, fixed all the finances, got more money coming in, doing everything, had already built tons of great relationships within the university and the coaching staffs as a member of the Boosters. There's the gentleman from Alabama who was very much, has a lot of Florida State ties and was, by all accounts, one of the great, had a way better resume than Vince Tyra. And everybody's like, well, why is this guy getting the job? And why is this search firm recommending this guy? Based on what? Was it a similar situation to how he got the job in Louisville? I'm not saying that. You can connect the dots if you want. But when one guy who doesn't have the resume of a bunch of other guys is getting a nod, let's just say you might raise an eyebrow or two. So a lot of people did. And this deal was supposed to go down on Tuesday at noon after the 5-day cooling off period where they agreed to hire him. And that's where all the reports were out there. And that's when I was telling you, when they're reporting it's done deal, I said, so fast. not so fast. It may happen, but it's a not so fast. So what happened was when all the negative stuff started coming in about Vince, they started looking at the search firm to see what the criteria was and what they did. And I'm not going to say the search firm, I'm not going to make those allegations. And if you want to connect the dots to why somebody with an incomplete and much lesser resume than some of these other guys is getting a gig, you can go ahead and connect those dots if you want. Wink, wink. I would never make that, I would never report that as a fact publicly. But the bottom line is FSU went and looked at their process, looked at the guy and said, get on the plane. Offer rescinded. So all this about him turning down FSU, according to my sources, that's not what happened. FSU took a longer look and said, no, we're not going to make the deal. We're pulling the offer. So, and it's maybe semantics, but I think FSU may be allowing that narrative to go out there because, frankly, they almost got hoodwinked. And I don't think they want to be. It's better to be known as you got, quit left at the altar. I think I've seen that written some places. That's not how I would characterize this at all. If anybody got left at the altar, it was Mr. Tyra, not Florida State University. So, in essence, they almost made a tremendous mistake at a critical juncture of athletic director hiring when you got SEC expansion that might be happening, super conferences, et cetera, et cetera. The Florida State would have had a very, very inexperienced, relatively unconnected athletic director who, in my opinion, would have been out, in the lobby having cocktails while the decisions were going down in the back rooms with trusted people who have been working with each other for decades within these conferences, not some outsider. So again, crisis averted for FSU, one of the most bizarre stories I think I've ever covered. And I just think that these universities need to start looking real seriously at some of these search firms, how much money they're paying them, who they're picking, why they're picking them. I'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. And FSU got the man for the gig. You were kind of a backseat to this whole thing. What are your thoughts on how this whole thing went down?
Yeah, I did have a backseat. You were doing a lot of work with it, and I listened to you and everything that we heard from sources and all that. But just kind of reading from the Louisville point of view, I saw a lot of people saying, oh, this is good for Louisville. Don't let the door kick you on the way out. All those kind of things. I saw that immediately when I started doing my early diving into who Vince Tyra was, right? And I saw a lot of people negative on the fact he became popular among football fans somewhat because they really like Jeff Brom. They're like, oh, he's going to bring us Jeff Brom. That was really the only positive things I really had heard about him. Outside of that, all this stuff with his investments and the companies and all that, I didn't really understand or know a lot about that stuff, that side of it. But from what I understand, and I think because of what Miami did, getting Clemson's AD, you need to stay in the race, kind of, I call it right now.
Yeah.
And Michael Alford, or everything I heard from Florida State, was since he got to the boosters, he straightened it all out. He works well with Mike Norvell. I've heard that a lot.
Very well.
And that's honestly probably the most important thing in this whole process, not having to establish another connection like that.
Exactly. 100%. But man, it's the fact that a guy, like that, with his inexperience was about to get the Florida State athletic director job under those circumstances is kind of mind-boggling. It's crazy. Not in a program like this. All right, we'll take another quick break. When we come back, what does sex toys have to do with curling, you may ask? Well, we will have the answer for you when we come back. Stay with us.
Are you in the market for a refinance or looking for a new home? You got to call my man, Fitz the Mortgage Guy, Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. I have got literally a notebook here of testimonials on what a great job he's done for so many of our listeners. Scott saved me $1,200 up front. Scott paid for my appraisal. Scott got my PMI taken off. Scott helped me pay off my car. They didn't give him money, but he refinanced everything for these folks and showed them a great strategy to get rid of a lot of their debt. He's not just a mortgage broker. He's like a financial counselor, and he's passionate to get you the lowest rate and keep you from paying those upfront lender fees. You know those folks that say, we'll pay your closing costs? Well, then they come back and hit you with all these other fees. Folks, go to a local guy who's got a great reputation, been in the business for 20 years here, done 3,000 local mortgages. Scott Fitzgerald. Email him, scott@amstampa.com. That's scott@amstampa.com. Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now. So go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com. Hey, did you start a new gig, a little side hustle during COVID? Well, if you don't have business insurance, you could be risking your personal fortune. That's how it works. JP here for Italiano Insurance. That's right. If you don't have business insurance, you can get sued and lose everything you've worked for. Not a good idea. Call the good folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. And if you have existing business insurance, shop it around. They could save you thousands of dollars as well. 813-877-7799. Who wants free mobile service? I do. And you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. JP, Santa, and young Saint Nick. Get us right over here. My partner for the Golden Diamond Source. You hear that? Christmas music. It's Christmas time. You just popped the question to your lady from the Golden Diamond Source diamond that you got.
Yes, I did. The Golden Diamond Source, the best place to go get your diamond for an engagement. They helped me out so much. They were so courteous to me for somebody who was so nervous. And it's Christmas time, like you said. If you're thinking about popping the question, you need to go to the Golden Diamond Source.
It's the Jewelry Super Center, fully stocked, fully staffed, and yes, just a short drive from downtown Tampa or wherever you're coming from, right there on Ulmerton Road. Avoid the madness at the malls. And whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for that 10-carat custom design, they have it all. 9 jewelers in-house ready to make your dreams come true. Even layaways, 100% interest-free financing up to 5 years. Shop now for your best selection at the Gold and Diamond Source and make your lady wonderfully happy like Nick did. That's absolutely. Shop anytime online at thegoldendiamond.com. Hey, JP here for the Black Rock Bar and Grill, and they got a new menu out, Johnny. This is unbelievable. Some incredible burger creations. Here's my new favorite, mac and cheese burger. A pound, half pound of certified Angus beef, American cheese, bacon, finished with our macaroni and cheese. Are you kidding me? Or a nacho burger with fried jalapenos, grilled onions. They got a ghost pepper chipotle burger. That's hot. Or the Fat Elvis burger. I mean, there's so many good burgers on this thing. It's amazing. What do you like?
I've been taking a look at the seafood section of this summer menu. 8 jumbo shrimp, unbelievable, man. And it goes perfectly with their burgundy mushrooms.
Oh, I love the mushrooms.
It's delicious.
So good. Of course, you get the steak on a 755-degree stone. You cook it right there in the garlic butter, the casino butter. It's fillets. You can do your shrimp on it, your chicken. It's unlike any other place. It's the Black Rock Bar and Grill. You got to go. It's a new menu. Tell them JP sent you. Brandon and Carrollwood. Get to the Black Rock.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
It's 3rd down and 5. Bernard swings in motion. Trip receivers to the left. Brady looks that way, goes that way. Caught ball. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Great grab, Mike Evans. His 11th of the year.
And Tom Brady gets a little bit of pressure on this one, and he's sliding to his left. Somehow Mike Evans is able to get up and catch this laser of a throw by Brady, and looked initially like it was going to be too high, but Evans able to make the catch.
Wow. What a catch. What a catch by Mike Evans. And this is the critical part of the game. Buffalo, one of the best red zone defenses in the game. The Bucs, one of the best red zone offenses in the game. Critical part of the game. I mean, red zone is what it's all about, right? So you got 2 elite teams in that category. And here's a situation where Mike Evans is not open. And it really encapsulates to me the brilliance of Brady. He sees angles and throwing spots that I think a lot of quarterbacks just don't see. And he can execute it too. He can execute the trajectory of the ball, the timing of the ball, the accuracy of the ball. Here's Micah Hyde, double covered Mike Evans. Micah Hyde's undercutting the route. Any other quarterback just throws a flat ball and is picked off. But he throws it to a place where only a 6'5" receiver can go up and get it fully extended, still come down with 2 feet in the end zone. It's a masterpiece. It's an absolute masterpiece of quarterbacking, play calling, everything.
Yeah, the throw is great. The catch by Mike Evans. I don't know how many guys in the league are bringing that one down.
No, it's just from a pure height standpoint. I mean, that ball's probably got to be 11 feet high, maybe.
Yeah.
Foot over the rim.
Yeah.
And wow.
I think that's one of the best. I mean, it's not just hyperbole. That's one of the best throws I've seen from a quarterback all year, though.
And I was down in that end zone, so I got a kind of feeling, not eye level, but just how he had to throw that ball because Micah Hyde got up. I mean, that was, and as a quarterback, you have to anticipate how high can this guy jump? Is he going to be able to get the ball? I got to throw it to the peak of where Mike can get it. It's 3rd down. It's the difference between a touchdown and a field goal. It's masterpiece.
Just goat moves, man.
Goat moves. Absolutely. Here's Brady talking about that touchdown throw and catch by Mike Evans right there. Critical play. No doubt.
Yeah, it's a mismatch anytime Mike's on basically anyone without 2 people on him. So Mike had 1 on him, and that's an advantage for us. And I try to throw it up nice and high for him. He's one of the very few guys who can go up and make that play. And he made a hell of a catch. It was a sweet play by Mike.
Really was. And I said, there was one guy on him, and Hyde came over the top at the last minute, was in position. So he may have started with one guy on him, but in the end, he was double covered. It's just tremendous throw. And there was, I don't know if it was the series before. I think it was the series after. The Buffalo got down in the red zone, same exact spot. And Todd Bowles takes JPP. And instead of him rushing, a little zone drop right into the hole where 13 was running his crossing route, same route he caught the touchdown for later on in the game. And Josh Allen was expecting him to come open on one-on-one, and he dropped right in that throwing lane. And so he had to throw it higher, but that was the difference. I mean, Brady made his throw, and Josh Allen did not. And in the end, that's kind of the difference in the game. Tremendous play calling by Todd Bowles and great execution defensively by the Buccaneers in the red zone. Here's a little bit more from Brady on just finding a way to win. This is something this Buccaneers team has done now. 5 of their wins have been 1-score wins.
Yeah, we needed to find a way because we kind of let them back in there with bunch of plays that, were kind of routine plays for us. So, it's, again, like execution is when it's good, we're tough to stop. And when it's not good, they don't have to do much. And, we had some plays there that were just too easy to make, and we didn't make them. But, in the end, we made enough plays to win, which is that'll feel good tonight and tomorrow.
No question. This was kind of a tale of 2 halves. The Bucs just let them back in. Brady was uncharacteristically inaccurate in the second half, missing 14 of his first 20 throws, I think. But a lot of those, I think he was just trying to be safe for the big lead.
Yeah, and I said this last week. You can harp on the Bucs. You could say they blew a 21-point lead and had to go to overtime. You can spin whatever narrative you want, but there aren't a lot of teams right now that are really just blowing people out left and right. It's not happening across the league.
Not good teams.
Not good teams. And the Bucs, honestly, you could say there's more meat on the bone here with this offense. Maybe there is. I think we all would agree. It's the number one offense in the league.
Scoring more points than anybody.
And guess what? They're beating everybody right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares what it looks like? That's not how the NFL works.
This isn't
the college.
No ranking systems.
Exactly. There's no style points needed. It's
Nobody
win
cares.
It's win and move on. These are tough football games in December. That's a desperate team.
Yeah.
And they honestly blew them out of the water in the first half. A desperate football team. I mean, they made the play when they needed to.
They know how to win.
In the overtime.
They know how to win.
3 and out.
Yep. They know how to win. They know when to step up when they have to step up. And that's such a critical part of NFL games. And of course, we talked about the game winning touchdown. Well, here's Brady, first of all, talking about his multiple runs. And, we joke about it. But when you look at the situations in these tight games, the last, 2 or 3 tight games that we've had, or even in the situations when Brady has run, they've been critical first downs. They've been really, really big plays. He had a couple of them yesterday. He had a quarterback sneak. He had a first down sneak that was big. And so this is something he could do this year that he wasn't able to do last year. Here's Brady on his running.
I know. Yeah, that was it's been pretty unlike me for a long time, but yeah, I kind of like getting out of there and making a play. So one was first second down play. There was a third down play. But yeah, I'd much rather hand it to the running backs. Let me just say that, or throw it to the guys who have much more talent with the ball in their hands than I do.
Yeah, and Arians was he was pretty clear about it. He said, "I don't want any more of that shit. No more of that." But yeah, good luck telling Brady that now. I mean, in the moment, in the competitive moment, he's not going to do it. It is. Listen. Perriman's touchdown, we talked about this in the beginning, but we wanted to come back and touch base on it again, it was such a incredible moment on so many levels because of the fact that here's a guy that was cut by the Bears and the Lions, comes to Tampa Bay. Brady finds a way, and Arians and Leftwich, the whole entire coaching staff finds a way to get this guy into the game where it's going to help them. And in that moment, I mean, you mentioned it earlier in the show. Scotty Miller was and we're like, what the hell's going on? Well, it's because these are the plays they were running in practice, and on this particular play, Buffalo ran 2 ET stunts up front, which they're very, very successful with. It's one of their best plays. The Bucs offensive line picked it up tremendously well because this is a long developing play. You got to, Mike's coming across and then Perriman's coming underneath, and it's Mike's play normally, and he was open, but Brady knew that on the right side of the field, you're just kind of move to the left. All the receivers are on the left. So if you get a guy crossing from left to right, he's going to be able to run for days. And he saw Perriman coming open. He had the time to do it, let it go, got tipped at the line just a little bit, but it's still a perfectly accurate pass. And then Perriman did the rest. He saw him one-on-one with a linebacker, and boom, he was gone. What a tremendous play. Great job by the scouting staff getting Perriman in here. Great job by the offensive line. Great call, great execution. This is what it takes to be Super Bowl champions. And it's very, 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 very impressive. Here's Perriman talking about his confidence now that he's been here a few weeks with the Buccaneers and this play.
If you just I was kind of just looking around at my different teammates and just seeing everybody reaction to having to go to overtime. Nobody was worried. Nobody really flinched. You could tell confidence at an all-time high, and they knew that we was gonna get the job done. So it's amazing. It's like night and day. I mean, I feel like for the most part, the guys who were here in 19 when I was here, we always you always got confidence, but I just feel like now it's just like a different swag. You know what I'm saying? So it's night and day. If you
night and day. That's it, and that's the difference. When Arians came here, what did he say? After that 19 season, he said, "We got a hell of a football team. We just got to stop beating ourselves." That's what he talked about right there. You walk into a locker room, and in 19 it was guys who thought they could win. Right? In 21, it's guys who know they're going to win. They know they're going to win this overtime. They're not looking at the fact we just blew a 21 point lead. they're looking at you know what? We're just going to come out and win this game. We're going to get a stop. We're going to give it to Brady, the greatest quarterback to ever do it. We're going to win.
And I thought this was a cool little nugget. I did some research on this. So he catches Tom Brady's 700 touchdowns. Don't think that was on the bingo card.
No, I don't think anybody had that in Vegas.
I like how who he's bookend by. Who caught the first Tom Brady touchdown? Little trivia right
I'm
here.
going to go with God, that's way back when.
2001.
2001. John Branch.
No. Terry Glenn.
Terry
Does that
Glenn.
name ring a bell?
Absolutely. Ohio State, Terry Glenn.
How about a guy, Terry Glenn? You know how many catches he had in 2001? 14. You know how many targets Breshad Perriman has this year? 9. How about that? All the great guys this guy's played with, Terry Glenn to Breshad Perriman will forever be those trivia answers.
And the fact that in that moment, in that huge moment, he had the confidence to go to that guy in that situation. Special stuff, man. Special stuff. What's going on? Enjoy it, folks. Enjoy your what you're seeing here in front of you with the Buccaneers. Couple other things to get to. So this is freaking hilarious. So they had the big curling competition, right? And they had to stop the live stream of the curling competition because it was being played at the Easy Toys Curling Center. You know what EasyToys.com is? Sex toys.
Let us know. There you go.
Sex toys.
There you go.
Sex toys. So they had the big, people are like, what's Easy Toys? And they're going on, kids are like, oh, wow, Mom, look at this. Here's what I want for Christmas. Honey, you're not getting that. So here's a couple of tweets from EasyToys.com Curling Center. Congratulations to the United States on earning the bye into the Olympic final. And their tweet is, foreplay is complete and Team USA is into the finals. Oh, here's another one. Chris Please and Vicky Persinger remain undefeated at the mixed doubles Olympic qualification event in the qualifying event, and the NBC Olympics channel shut it down. So this fan is complaining and said, "Show us the feed, you cowards." The tension is rising at the curling center. EasyToys.com tweets out, "Can't wait for the epic climax." This is their own social media team. I think they all got it. They must have got at the board meeting and come up with these like way ahead of time.
I don't even want to know where you found. I don't even want to know where you found this story. I don't want to know.
Oh, they're letting this lead slip away. Must be some really good lubricant. You can't stop. I mean, think about it. First of all, think about the sport of curling, like the whole thing that's going on there. And also think about the fact that why would Easy Toys choose this one to sponsor? Well, first of all, there's some really hot curlers out there. And so that was pretty good. Oh, it goes on and on. So yeah, there's a term in curling called the crotch double.
Oh, really? There is.
Crotch double. And that the shooter gets through, it's a crotch. You can't make this stuff up. It's too good. It's too good. You want some more?
No, I want to move on.
I got him for days. No,
it's time to move on.
So anyway, they had to actually stop the live stream because too many people were putting out memes like this one. If you want a little joke, go to EasyToys.com on Twitter and enjoy perusing the curling championship tweets from this past weekend.
You know what? Why don't you take us home? We got a couple minutes left.
Something funnier that I just retweeted?
Yeah, like the Brian Kelly video.
Oh my God.
Let's keep that one going.
So one of our old advertisers, they're an events company, and they specialize in all these different photo booths, and one of them is their 360 photo booth. We talked about this a lot last year, and it's great for parties, awesome for parties. So you'll see them at all the events now. So you stand on a little like stool in the middle of it that revolves, and it just takes. So you're standing in this, and you go round and round, and it takes this video. It's like, it's a sorority girl thing. That's what it is. So like the girls jump on, and they do. So Brian Kelly thought it would be a good idea to get on one of these with one of his recruits, and then do the worst dance, like worst white guy Mark Madsen dance of all time. I mean, are you kidding me? I think he's actually trying to get fired before he even has to coach. Like, this is just his retirement.
He's voting
I'm
it
going to
in.
collect my $95 million. I'm going to make the biggest ass of myself before I even coach a game, collect my money, and I'll be out. 95 guaranteed. Bye-bye.
No, that was not a Louisiana Saturday night. Not even close.
They're not doing that down at the Cajun Elks Club.
I don't think
in
so.
Ribideau,
I don't
Louisiana.
think so,
You don't think?
You want to watch
No?
the video? We retweeted it on the show page. JP Peterson Show. Brian Kelly just acting like a fool here.
Just off. Did you say Lane Kiffin quotes?
Oh yeah, Lane Kiffin. Got to steal the recruit from him probably there.
Awesome. Just really good. Keep it up, Brian. I love it. Max Johnson's in the portal. Attaboy. So yeah, go give easytoys.com curling center a follow. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Our thanks to none of our guests. We usually don't have guests on Monday because we have so much to say. It was fun. But if you want to catch we recap the entire Bucs win, go over the NFL, some interesting stuff on college recruiting and the FSU AD job, how that whole thing went down. It's been a great show today. Great job, Nick. We will be back tomorrow. See you then. Live at 10.